Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ms. Shimara Wikra Manayake, the CEO of Macquarie Group, Datuk Muhammad Umar Swift, our CEO of Bursa Malaysia, Encik Nick from Macquarie, distinguished speakers, panelists, and guests, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and very good morning. Welcome to Series 2 of Invest Malaysia 2022. Today, our capital market conversation shifts to the road to EV, a topic that expands on the overall theme of Invest Malaysia 2022, pivoting for the future. Please allow me to set the context and the urgency of this particular pivot to EVs, and that is electric vehicles. Ladies and gentlemen, as you know, the COP27 is currently happening in Sharm el-Sheikh in Egypt. Now, 2 days ago, at the opening session, the UN Secretary General, Antonio Guterres, in his address, repeated the calls for urgency to deal with climate change. And if I can quote him, we are on a highway to climate hell with our foot on the accelerator. Very dramatic indeed. He called for a historic pact between developed and developing countries to combine capacities and pivot the world towards reducing carbon emissions, transforming energy systems, and avoiding a climate catastrophe. Now, we are grateful that Malaysia, along with more than 90% of the world's economies, have already committed to be net zero in our greenhouse gas emissions by mid-century, and in the case of Malaysia, as early as 2050. Now, based on the third biennial update report that was submitted by the Malaysian government to the UNFCCC in December 2020, Malaysia emits some 334 million tons of carbon dioxide equivalent, whilst our forests are able to sequester or remove some 259 million tons of carbon, resulting in net emission of 75 million tons of carbon dioxide equivalent. Now, 54% of our emissions are contributed by the energy sector and 21% from the transportation sector. It is therefore not surprising that based on the study undertaken by WWF and BCG in November 2021, which was also supported by Bursa Malaysia, and that study was entitled Securing Our Future, the Net Zero Pathways for Malaysia, there were 3 top priorities identified. Firstly, protect, enhance Malaysia's natural assets. Obviously, we are fortunate we still have some 18.2 million hectares of forest that make up about 55% of our land mass, and we need to protect them. Secondly, to decarbonize the energy sector. So it's great that we have already committed to no more new coal-fired power plants in the future, and to allow the existing PPAs to actually expire over time, and with that increasing the proportion of renewable energy. And the third is the acceleration towards low carbon transport. Now, in addressing the emissions reductions in the transport sector, the study identified 4 abatement levers building on strong current efforts and plans. Firstly, increasing public transport modal share to 40% in urban areas by 2030, 50% by 2040, and 60% by 2050. And obviously that will require massive investment in public transportation system. And therefore we do welcome the MRT 3 being developed, for example. Secondly, strengthening shared mobility and alternative transport. Third, enhancing fuel economy in line with the ASEAN Fuel Economy Roadmap for the transport sector 2018 to 2025, which envisions transformation of the ASEAN light-duty vehicle market into one of the world's most fuel-efficient. And fourth is about scaling up electrification of the light vehicle fleet. And this is where EVs come in. Now, aside from focusing on innovative technologies in manufacturing, computing, sensors, data management, and analysis, among others, EVs have a unique advantage. The more it is adopted as the choice of the masses, the greater its effect and the demand creation in various other industries. It has the potential to become a virtuous cycle by attracting and assisting in the development of talent, skill, and technologies or innovations that are needed by almost every sector. It can create numerous spin-offs for sectors where vehicles are essential tools of their trade, such as in public transportation, industrial transport, delivery services, and many others. Ladies and gentlemen, Malaysia is home to two automotive brands, Proton and Produa. Together with their connection to global automotive manufacturing giants of Geely and Toyota, they are at the forefront of developing the required technologies. They are expected to make the great inroads into affordable and mid-range vehicles. And this is the tipping point for mass adoption, with compact and mid-segment models accounting for more than 85% of car sales in Malaysia. Last year, almost 500,000 vehicles were sold, and this figure is estimated to rise to above 600,000 units by 2030. Based on Macquarie's report, the Malaysian electric vehicle market, both hybrid and battery electric vehicles, is estimated to grow at a CAGR of 31% by 2030, compared to total industry volume growth of 2%. At the same time, we are expecting EV penetration to be around 17% of new annual sales during the same period. Another key driver of this market would be the growth of the charging infrastructure. Other than the Malaysian Green Technology and Climate Change Corporation, or MGTC, Tenaga Nasional also sees the potential in the Charge EV program. By 2030, Tenaga expects the EV market to grow to 18,000 charging points for more than 500,000 battery EVs on the road, with an annual electricity revenue of some 1.25 billion ringgit. This equates to a potential 4.4 million tons of carbon dioxide equivalent emissions reduction by taking an equivalent number of internal combustion engines off the road. Now, we also have Shell and Petronas, two of our well-known names that have also been expanding their offerings in this space. In the first half of this year, Shell launched its Shell Recharge 180 kilowatt-hour fast charging services with annual subscription and pay-per-use options, while Petronas Dagangan signed an MOU with Jom Charge to install fast chargers at Petronas stations. And more recently, 2 months ago, in September, Petronas launched its clean energy solutions provider, Gentari, which targets, among others, delivery of 25,000 public charging points across their key markets in Asia Pacific by 2030. I understand that they also have a mid-term target of 9,000 charging points here in Malaysia by 2026. So what I'm saying here is that it is all coming together, if I may. Now, on the production side, we're also seeing world-leading South Korean manufacturers of battery technology seeing the potential too. We have, for example, Samsung SDI Energy that has announced an investment of 7 billion ringgit for a state-of-the-art battery manufacturing facility here in Malaysia, which will create some 1,300 new jobs, including high-skilled engineers and technicians, and will have the ability to produce up to some 800 million battery cells annually. Now, this is certainly an exciting growth area with great potential to create economic, social, and environmental gains, all at the same time. And I'm sure that the panel sessions that we will have later will share more about these issues. Ladies and gentlemen, it is critical that we continue to support industries that can generate this type of economic progress and environmental change. This is where Bursa Malaysia's voluntary carbon market, or VCM, will have a key role to play. The VCM will be operational very soon by way of auction before the year end. On this note, I strongly urge corporates to be among the auction's early participants to demonstrate their leadership in climate action. The VCM facilitates price discovery for new products by serving as a reference price for carbon credit trading and generating tangible price signals for potential issuers to embark on domestic carbon credit projects. A healthy ecosystem is crucial. Besides government and other project developers, financial institutions have a large role here. Investments in the right projects are key to driving a sustainable supply of carbon credits and making it widely accessible. McKinsey, in their 2021 report, estimates that annual global demand for carbon credits could reach up to 1.5 to 2 gigatons of CO2 by 2030 and up to 7 to 13 gigatons of CO2 by 2050. And depending on different price scenarios and their underlying drivers, it could be worth between 5 to 30 billion US dollars at the low end and more than $50 billion at the high end. It is easily foreseeable that some of the largest investments to meet the vision and the goals made by the EV and associated industries such as power generation, distribution, charging networks, and others will have developed that crucial initial supply of carbon credits for other industries looking to offset their own carbon emissions to meet their commitments in this space. Ladies and gentlemen, the spirit of today's capital market conversation is one that is resounding throughout the world in that all efforts must no longer be centered on a win-lose mentality or competition, but rather one that is based on how many winners we can help create together. Therefore, I'm pleased that today's Invest Malaysia features many notable speakers and panelists. Our keynote address will be delivered by Ms. Shemara Wikramanayake, the CEO of Macquarie Group, who is a staunch advocate of renewable energy production and speaks from deep experience as well as a well-developed passion and intuition in this field. The panel discussions will firstly review broad government policies, followed by implementation of the EV industry in Malaysia, before moving on to the opportunities and challenges that can be expected. The final panel session will focus on discovery and the progress and opportunities of the voluntary carbon market. And this panel will include our very own Dr. Omar. Ladies and gentlemen, rarely does a sector offer the opportunities for so many others to thrive, as we will see in today's discussions. With that, it gives me great pleasure to welcome Ms. Shemara Wikramanayake, CEO of Macquarie Group, to deliver her speech. Thank you.